Hey guys, it's Dawn. If you're new to my channel, I am an aspiring author of adult fantasy, hoping to be traditionally published in the next few years. We'll see, but that's just a little introduction if you are new to my channel. Anyways, today I kind of want to talk about what my plans are for April Camp NaNoWriMo, since that is right around the corner. It's literally a week away now. So let's jump into that. So originally I had it in my head, the productive, overzealous part of my brain was like, oh yeah, we're gonna totally jump into the network again. And I'm just not mentally ready to do that. If you don't know, The Network is the first book in my urban fantasy trilogy. It's my baby, it's my biggest and most ambitious work in progress. And so, of course, with that, it comes with a lot of difficulties and a lot of complications, especially since I technically am a relatively inexperienced writer. I'm only 26, I haven't been published yet, so this project is a lot. And on top of that, it's especially difficult right now because I just finished another project. So for the past like 5-6-ish months, I was writing a novella. It actually turned out to be a short novel at 68,000 words, but I was writing a fantasy project for the Indie Bookworm book box. So it's basically a book in parts. It was 5 different parts, so 5 different boxes, each got a part. And it was a lot. It's difficult to write an entire project regardless, but I was also on a deadline each month, writing each part and having to get it sent to Amara at the Indie Bookworm book box at a certain time each month. And so it was pretty taxing. And I'm realizing now, kind of on the downhill side of it, after I have finished it and put it behind me for now, that creatively I'm very fatigued. So I've been thinking about it as I've been prepping for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I just don't think I'm in a place right now to jump back into the network just because of how demanding it is. However, I don't want to waste April because camp is a lot of fun. It's definitely a time where you feel incredibly motivated because you're participating in something with a large community. So it's a very valuable writing time during the year, both April, July, and then the actual National Novel Writing Month in November. So that being said, I don't want to waste April, but I don't want to work on the network because the outline frankly needs a lot more work, and I just don't see the point in forcing myself to work on the network if some of the work or a lot of the work I do in April is going to have to be scrapped or redone again anyways. So I would rather come back to the network when I feel confident that I know exactly what I'm doing and I have my vision perfectly figured out in my head, which just isn't true at the moment. I am a little bit discouraged as far as the network goes, just because I feel like I have poured so much time and energy into this project. I started it, the first draft, back in NaNoWriMo of 2018. I wrote the first 50,000 words in that month, and then it wasn't until July of the next year that I finally finished the last literally 17,000 words. So it took me forever to finish the first draft, and I tried starting the second draft pretty soon after, and that just didn't work. I still didn't have a good vision. And at this point right now, I am pretty much halfway through the second draft, but I came to kind of an uncomfortable realization, which was that I was attempting to cram basically 2 separate stories into one book, and that just wasn't working. So the pacing was wrong, the characterizations were all over the place, it just was too much. So I'm discouraged because a lot of the stuff in the first half, at least the stuff with the actual vampire hunt. This is an urban fantasy, involves vampires, werewolves, goblins, and elves. Basically the first hunt I'm not going to use anymore. So it's just kind of sad to look back at all this effort I put into these various chapters and scenes and feel like I wasted my time. Like I'm not going to be able to use these scenes. And I'm trying to be positive about it because I know technically every little bit of writing you do, you are developing your skills. And so even if it's not something that you can use or that you feel like will be part of a published piece later on, it's still valuable for your craft. It's just disappointing because I'm so fixated on this project because, like I mentioned before, it is my baby. It is something that I've been developing for a long time. I'm very attached to the characters. And to feel like I'm kind of floundering with it is not fun in any way, shape, or form. So I do feel like it'll be healthy for me after, finishing The Elf and the Goblin, which was my gunpowder, Pride and Prejudice sort of romance fantasy thing, and just take a break after that because that was pretty strenuous, and it's just probably not a good idea to jump not only into a difficult project like the network, but especially to jump into it when I'm not in a good place to jump back into it yet. So basically, for April, I am going to be working on a completely different project. So if you're not new to my channel, you will know a little bit about this one already, but it is a Russian fairy tale. I wouldn't say it's a retelling because it's not a specific retelling of any particular fairy tale, if that makes sense. It's just, a little storyline that has all these inspirations from Russian folklore. I started it in NaNoWriMo 2019 and didn't end up finishing it. I got around 35,000 words because I really didn't outline it out, and I got to the middle section, and you know what happens when you get to the middle section and you don't really have a plan, you kind of go, where am I going? Even if you have a good idea of what the ending is going to be, which I did and I still do, it's just that middle section was pretty muddled and I just didn't have it in me to keep going at that point. So my plan for the Russian fairy tale is just to take this last week of March, go reread what I had written back in NaNoWriMo 2019, take some notes, and then just write a fresh outline. I don't think I'll be super detailed with it, but I do want to focus on that middle section and make sure I do know what scenes are going to go in there. Otherwise, I'll just run into the same problem as I did last time. And then once April rolls around, I'm just going to jump into drafting the Russian fairy tale. So I'm not going to try to finish that first draft just because it really wasn't going anywhere, and I feel like I have better skills now than I did back then. So I am going to just restart it and treat it as a fresh draft and proceed from there. So as anticlimactic and lame as that sounds, that is my plan for Camp NaNoWriMo this April. I am not giving up on the network. It is still a high priority for this year. I just need a mental break after finishing The Elf and the Goblin, and I think this is the appropriate route to take, I guess. I am excited to write the Russian fairy tale. It's one of those projects that is relatively new in the grand scheme of like all the different story ideas I have. So I'm not attached to it in the same way I am attached to the network, for example. Obviously, I keep bringing up the network. So there's a lot less pressure that comes with it. And not a lot of my friends know a ton about it. Not a lot of people have read what I did write back in 2019. So basically there's just no pressure attached to it. I can just write it for fun and just enjoy the writing process rather than stressing about a specific deadline or publication or, being super attached to the project itself. So hopefully that goes well for me. But my word count goal for April, I think, will just be 20,000 words. That seems to be what I can hit pretty comfortably if I both stretch myself a little in the sense that I am forcing myself to work consistently, but not push myself too hard. It is not my goal to burn myself out at any point, especially since, like I keep saying, I need to recover from finishing another project, so I just don't think it would be smart to try to aim for a really high word count goal in April. So we're just going to take it really easy and just try to have a nice time. I will attempt to do a little bit of vlogging in April. I have never been good at it. It's hard for me to remember to do it consistently, and then a lot of my footage ends up getting ruined because my daughter will run into the shot and I don't show her on camera, and so it just complicates things. And also, I'm a mom and my house is sometimes a mess, so sometimes there's not like a nice place to film, and I don't want everybody to see like that it looks like the Tasmanian devil ran through my house, So I'm gonna do my best and try to do some consistent vlogging in April because it is pretty fun and I know people enjoy watching that. So hopefully that will go well. Next week or the week after, I will be uploading my wrap up for the first quarter of the year and then talking about my goals for the second quarter. So make sure you watch for that. Other than that, I think my content focus in April is going to be Camp NaNoWriMo. So I don't think there will be a lot of book related content. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I would love to hear about your Camp NaNoWriMo goals down in the comments. I hope you guys have an amazing week. And as always, happy writing. Bye.